I literally put my pen down on my history exam. I went to my last casting. I was 1,500 girls they interviewed for Sam Mitchell. It changed my life overnight. My mum was a bunny girl for Playboy. She used to serve all the big bands like Queen, Roger Daltrey, Stones and stuff like that. I was a little girl. I didn't think my mum saw the industry for what it was. Obviously, you know, I'm a chief witness against Jimmy Savile and people like that. I stuck my tongue out and he got the shot right up my nose. He's bought himself a plane and everything out of that picture. I got given drugs when I was 11. People in that ring would give us drugs to keep us quiet. And then Brian went off on tour once and then I had a load of guys in black suits come through my front door and put me in a rehab. My son was like 4.5 years old, ringing ambulances for me. I met a fella in a petrol station and he married me 6 weeks later so someone else would leave me alone. I'd love to do that banged up programme, but they might keep me in if I've got any warrants outstanding. She was actually going to the paper to do a story to become famous to say she was my stalker. I located Tucker from being Southend and being in Tots and all that. They weren't to be messed about with, mate. They run Essex. I drove his Porsche through the front of his pub and threw the keys at him. Misery loves a friend. Wow. And addiction is misery. And your friend is that packet. I am an Essex girl, but I was there.
Boys, he was the Essex
girl, yeah.
Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast, and this episode is proudly brought to you by Betovo. Before we get stuck into this week's episode, we're going to give a big shout out to our sponsors.
This season's podcast is brought to you by Superstar Speakers Events. They are the UK's #1 destination for exclusive live experiences. These guys don't just put on events, they deliver unforgettable nights with some of the biggest names in sports, entertainment and beyond. From jaw-dropping Q&A sessions to meet and greets and unmissable stage interviews, they bring you face-to-face with the icons you love. Whether it's football legends spilling the secrets of the beautiful game or entertainment stars sharing untold stories, Superstar Speakers knows how to create memories that last a lifetime. And here's the big news. I'll be teaming up with them for an evening with Terry Stone, a live tour you won't want to miss. Head over to superstarspeakers.co.uk for dates, details and tickets. Massive thanks to Superstar Speakers for supporting our podcast. Please go check out their up-and-coming events now and book yourself a night to remember. Click on the link below and get involved. Welcome back to the Criminal Connection podcast. My name's Terry Stone, and today we've got an EastEnders legend. She's had her highs, she's had her lows, she's had her problems, but she's come through the other end, and she's turning 50. So I want you to welcome the legend that is Daniella Westbrook to the Criminal Connection podcast. Please put your hands together for Daniella Westbrook's in the house.
Thank you, Tim. That was a build up and half, wasn't it, mate?
I like to, because we don't have an audience, I like to sort of, pretend we've got one.
You never know. Next step might be, you could have your own show on Channel 4 or something.
Well, people
Kick
saying
Brian Norton off.
Well, people saying I'm the Michael Parkinson of true crime, so I'll take
But you
that.
are, though. You're not just true crime. You cover so many different people now, don't you, on here as well?
I mean, we've had some great guests. We've had all sorts of people. But obviously we've known each other for a while.
Yes,
and
sir.
I've seen you on a couple of our podcasts, but I just thought, we should actually sit down and have a chat, because I definitely feel like through your life, obviously you've had some bad hands dealt to you, but you've also come through it. And
I've made some bloody bad decisions as well, bad choices.
But
as well.
I think everybody does. But it's whether you sort of turn those into positives, And I think a lot of people give up. But you're still
A lot of people used to sink or swim, and it's a sink or swim world in industry, especially this industry we're in. For me, it's like if you just lay down and roll over and die, or you get up and you keep fighting.
Yeah.
And I've had so many fights and so many battles with things, with addiction, with health, with work, with relationships and marriages, different things. But I think everybody that you speak to in life, it's just a normal life.
Right.
We all have our trials and tribulations, but, everything's relevant. It's funny, I was in an AA meeting a little while ago, and there was two people sniggering because somebody said that they were drinking a bottle of wine and they'd come to a meeting, and I just thought, who the fuck is somebody else? Am I allowed to swear on here?
Yeah, of course.
Who the fuck is somebody else?
Word, whatever you like.
Who the fuck is somebody who's to sit there and judge somebody else? If that bottle of wine's causing that person a problem, then they're in the right place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't mean so they've got to go out and drink 2 bottles of wine or a bottle of gin, or they were like almost as if to say it wasn't a problem. So for me, if that problem's relevant to you in your life, it's a problem, and people need to respect. We all go through things. We all have things. We all come out the other side. But a lot of people are. If you let people label you and sort of judge you by your past mistakes, then what are you going to do? You know what I mean? They can label you all you like, but you don't have to wear that label.
No, I think
You can just go, yeah, they can call me that, but I am this.
But that's
I'm
what
more
I
than
love
that.
about social media. People can say and print whatever they like, but for you, if you've got a platform, you can actually say.
I had a troll put in prison.
Good.
3-year prison. It took me 5 years to get her in prison, and I was living in Spain, and she just hounded me and hounded me and hounded me. She hacked she had my Twitter for 18 months.
Wow.
The police weren't taking it seriously. Finally found a copper that did it. And it turns out that she had, when they got her computers and stuff, she had over 17,000 accounts, trolling different people.
Wow.
Over 6 years.
I mean, these people are f***ed up, aren't they? I mean,
Yeah, she got 3 years in prison for it.
How did it start? Was it just literally?
It started the day after I came out of Big Brother. Right. I think she was in the crowd and they wouldn't let us stop people say hello, to like do pictures and stuff. And she just took offence. Right. And it started from there. And she just hounded my life. She took pictures of Kai on the train. She follows Kai from where he lived. Right. Took a picture of him, hacked into she had my Instagram, I'd like 600,000 followers on Instagram. That went overnight. She just took my account, deleted it. She hacked into my Twitter whilst I was on it. She even rang the Daily Star and the Sun newspaper and offered her own story for a price to say she was my stalker.
Wow.
And the Daily Star actually gave me the evidence of that.
Sounds a bit like Baby Reindeer.
I know, it does, doesn't it? Without the but no, I was actually the Daily Star gave me the evidence for it to put towards the court case.
Right.
Which was good because she was that deluded that she was actually going to the paper to do a story to become famous, to say she was my stalker.
Wow, the lengths people get to become famous.
She was quite frightening though, to be honest, because she knew what I was doing, where I was. She had pictures of me sitting out eating in Spain and stuff. But it was quite. She was.
So what
very
did
weird
she?
character.
So she got 3 years.
She got 3 years in prison. Yeah.
And I take it when
she
she
was
comes
from
out-
Nottingham.
She's
out now.
I take it. Oh, is there a restraining order?
She's got a restraining order. I've got a restraining order, and I think she's not allowed. She's not supposed to go onto any social media sites at all. Right. She's already tried to contact me twice. She just broke her bail conditions, but the police haven't done anything. Obviously, the police ain't do anything about it. But I've just completely, as soon as she popped up with a message, I just pressed block, screenshotted it, blocked it, and just looked like I hadn't acknowledged it. Right. Sent it over to the person dealing with the thing, but they haven't pulled her in for it. Right. But touch wood, she hasn't contacted me again. So
good.
You know.
So obviously, rewinding right back to where you were sort of born, where you grew up,
East London.
So you was always an East London girl.
I've always been a West Ham girl. Yeah, yeah.
She was born in West Ham?
No, I was born in Walthamstow, East 17.
Walthamstow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Whips Cross.
Do you know Brian?
I went out of him, didn't I? I was engaged to him for years. Now, I'm like, he hates me, doesn't he? He just trolls the life. He's another one that trolls me.
So Brian, I've never met Brian, but
E17 in general.
I met the other guys.
All the boys are great.
And they were at one of their premieres.
Yeah.
And
Terry's great.
I knew
Terry.
I knew what their songs were, but I just said, "Oh, can I be an honorary member of V17?" And they went, "Yeah, tell."
Yeah, you could be Brian.
What
yeah.
what can you sing? And I said, "One Love."
That's
They went, "It's the wrong fucking band.
That's
You're
blue.
fucking sacked." But it was just funny, you know what I mean? But so you went.
I went out with Brian for years.
Right. Okay.
Funny, I've just done a BBC documentary with Louis Theroux about boy bands from the 90s, because I went out with Brian Harvey and Robbie Williams.
Wow.
So I went out with Take That and E17, but I was engaged to Brian.
You prefer E17 to Take That?
Take That. I've just like Robbie on his own. But no, It's funny because even now, he did Mr. and Mrs. I think 2 years ago. And they asked a question while he was in the booth, and his wife they said, "Who's Robbie's celebrity crush?" And she just went straight away. She went, "Daniella Westbrook." He calls her the one that got away.
Wow.
She went, "I'll always have to compare with Daniella." And I thought, "Crying out loud, you're a multi-millionaire living in LA, and I'm just sitting here in Brentwood High Street." Do you know what I mean? Doing nothing.
You must have had a little proud moment there, Daniella.
Oh yeah, he was all right. Once we've never forgotten, I think.
But you obviously brought up, like you said, in E17, Walthamstow.
Yep, moved to Loughton, Chigwell all my life. Grew up really Woodford, Loughton.
And what was the calling for acting? Is it something you always wanted to do, or did you fall into it?
My mum was a Playboy bunny girl.
Right.
She worked for the Playboy Bunny Club. She was a croupier for the casino up in London here.
Right.
My dad had a tyre shop and done carpet fit. My dad was a carpet fitter all his life. Right. They're from a travelling side of their side of the family travellers. My mum's a bit posher. But
so you've got a nice little mix there. You've got the grafters.
Yeah, I've got the grafters and I've got the posh ones on the other side.
And how do you do? And then the other people going out making a
one that like go and take your turf, take your turf up while you're asleep and lay it for you the next morning, sell it back to you. And the other lot just rob people poshly in casinos.
Right.
But no, so my mum was a bunny girl for Playboy. She used to serve like Queen, Roger Daltrey, all the people, all the big bands, The Who,
Right,
Stones and stuff like that. So, and one of them said they were looking for, they were shooting a new video. And back then, music videos were quite new. It was when Thriller and all that had just come out. It was one of the biggest videos. Like, remember, you used to be able to rent it at Blockbusters and stuff. Because we didn't have MTV and stuff like that back then. It was a big deal. And I did a video for Queen. I did a video for Freddie Mercury and Queen when I was little, because my mum said, well, I've got a little girl. And they was like, well, what's she like? She's blonde. And I was like a little doll. So they put me in a video.
Great story. Your mum's a Playboy bunny and she's hooking you up with music videos.
Pimped me out, And that was it really. So I just loved it. I loved being, I was a little girl. So my mum, I didn't think my mum saw the industry for what it was, because, I'm obviously, I'm a chief witness against Jimmy Savile and people like that, because I was abused heavily through the industry all growing up.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
but let's talk about that. But that was your gateway into the business.
That's how I got into the industry, and obviously I found Sylvia Young Theatre School.
Right.
And
So many great actors.
Oh
come
my
from
God, I
there.
just loved. That was my whole life. I'm still really good friends with people from school today. It's such a small world, that school, and it was small back then. There was kids. I started there when I was 9. I was just talking about this morning. I used to get on the Central Line at 11-year-old on my own, go all the way to Mepping to London.
Right.
You just wouldn't put an 11-year-old on the tube these days, but back then it was different times.
Right.
And it was the best times of my life. I did like the West End. I've done loads of West End musicals as a kid, a lot of theatre. Something else I want to go back to doing now, like when I've had my praise.
Yeah, because I didn't know that you could sing and dance.
I can.
But you can act, but I always knew you as
Listen,
an
if they pay me the right money, I can do anything.
That's the right answer.
That's it, I can learn anything, But yeah, so, and I've worked all my life. I've done all sorts of things. I've worked for Brian Adams. I did a video for Brian Adams, worked with George Michael. Was good friends with George Michael for quite a lot of years.
What was he like? Because
he was a lovely guy.
Yeah.
Quite a very lovely guy, but he had the same problems as me within the industry.
Right.
Hence why he made the song Father Figure. It's all about the industry and people taking your innocence.
Wow.
If you listen to the words of the song, that's what it's about. And it was the same time when he came out of, when he left Sony, and he made that record when he had the headphones on. They said Phony on them instead of Sony, and that was like his finger up.
Right.
But I just think there's such a conspiracy against so many things with this industry, and there's certain people that disappear and aren't here anymore. Like George, like Amy Winehouse, like a lot of different people. And it all gets brushed under the carpet. And then there's other people like me that are just, they know I'm not going to expose too many things, which I haven't done. I've signed my treaty and stuff like that.
We only invited you on a podcast to expose them all, Daniella. What's going on?
If you want to know about, I'll tell you all this shit. Yeah. I can only talk about the dead ones. How about that? If they're dead, I can talk about them. They can't sue us. But no, so... I've had quite a life of it, so...
Right.
And then I'm just writing my third autobiography as well.
Wow.
So that's got a whole different side of it, because I've been nicked twice for money laundering.
Right.
Stuff like that the public don't know.
Oh, look,
Things
we've got
I've
Criminal
done.
Connection exclusive.
Yeah, it is a Criminal Connection exclusive. So bits like that's gone in there, and obviously I was innocent.
I always thought you was a straight goer.
I am a straight guy. It was what was it called? My identity was stolen, I think. Somebody Right. It was I was thrown into the hat for something it weren't nothing to do with me. I just happened to be around the similar people at the same time, and I was on a lot of the photographs.
Right.
It was on the surveillance and stuff, so I got tugged in for a few things, one in Marbella and one here. So you'll be buying the rights to my life story next, making images of films.
Daniella Westbrook films. But you've obviously popped up in these music videos, and then when did you? What was your
From
first
there I went to
break?
Sylvia Young's.
What was your first break? Your actual acting role?
I've done Grange-Hill. So
I used to love that demo.
Yes, I did Grange-Hill. I did it with Johnny Alford.
Roland?
John Alford and Roland. I'll be your friend, Roland.
I actually see him at a couple of premieres, and people used to come and go, "Oh, he's Roland from Grange-Hill."
It's great,
and
isn't
I used
it?
to say to him, "You look so different."
And the Burgess brothers.
What's his name, Roland?
I have no idea.
He's got a really funny name, like Zachariah or something. But he doesn't look anything like Roland. But I grew up on Grange-Hill, and
we did. That was our thing, wasn't it?
It was Grange-Hill, and
now I did another one for ITV, Bad Boys, with Vaz.
Yeah, Vaz
Vaz Blackman. So I met Vaz when I was about 13.
Wow.
So all them sort of actors and people that I know, like Nick Moran and people, we've all sort of grown up through Sid Owen. We've all grown up together because it was a lot smaller cast of kids working, I suppose, back in them days.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like the Burgess brothers, they were in Grange-Hill. One of them was in Grange-Hill, and now they've they make movies.
But you're on
With
about
Ray Winston. Ray Winston, Ray Burgess.
Ray
and
Burgess and Mark Burgess.
Yeah,
Right,
Mark Burgess. So one of them was in Grange Hill.
Right,
Mark,
okay.
I think. Mark was in Grange Hill. But it was like they were like the Anna Shears from Islington, and we was in like Mayfair at Sylvia's.
Right.
So we was all up against each other. Yeah, we weren't posh though, but we all come from Essex and all over. So Sylvia's and Anna Shear obviously was only like an evening school.
Yeah.
So like all Patsy and Sid and all them, like Todd Carty, all went through Anna's.
Right, okay.
All the Islington lot.
Because it seems like Anna Shear and Sylvia Young, it seemed like that was the breeding ground for a lot of the actors and actresses.
I think Anna Shear mostly for actors more so. My era is like Spice Girls, Sylvia Young's, me, Amy Winehouse, Denise Van Outen, so many people.
Who was your favourite Spice Girl?
Obviously Emma Bunting, because I went to school with her.
Okay.
So yeah, obviously Emma. But no, like, and it's just, it is still a small industry, but you just think I've been famous since I was 16 years old. I'm nearly 51.
Wow.
And it's funny.
35 years of being famous. What's it like?
Fucking hard work.
Right.
It's the press that's the hard work, I think.
Right.
Not the public. Public actually don't want to hear about, drugs and this and being slagged off in the paper. The public are nice to me.
Right.
Especially my kind of market, because my market is it's where I'm from.
Right.
It's working class, broken Britain, that's who I am.
Right.
I'm not like a middle class or high class person, I'm just a working class girl. So, that's more my kind of market, and it's them people that vote for you when you're on shows and doing stuff and that buy your books and watch your podcasts and do things like that, And
when you said you was famous at 16, what was that?
EastEnders.
So that's when you went in?
I literally put my pen down on my history exam, GCSE, put my hand up, and they just went, yeah, you can go. And I went to my last casting. I was 1,500 girls they interviewed for Sam Mitchell.
Wow.
Over 4 months, and I had 6 callbacks. My last callback was at BBC Elstree.
Right.
So I went into reception now, literally in my school uniform, just got the train. I just turned 16, so I was allowed to get a train back chaperone. Got the train up to Elstree from my history exam in London. Went in, and Sid was there, and he had really long hair then, Ricky.
Yeah. Okay.
And Ricky. And we used to have a tea bar on the first floor. I don't know if you remember at the old BBC there. Right. And he stuck his head over the top, and I was talking to Michelle Gale, who played Hattie in EastEnders, Black Girl. And he had a sausage rolling out his mouth, and he went, who's these two Richards, like these Richard III's, who's these two birds up for the part of Sam? So Michelle went, this girl here, and he went, yeah, she's nice. He went, what about you? You'll do. I went, what do you mean I'll do? I said, well, f*** off, I went to him. And that was it. And then they called me in, and they had a picture of me, it's me and 2 other girls. Picture of me with Phil and Grant, a picture of her with Phil and Grant, because they were the only 2 Mitchells. They'd only been in it a year. Right. Then I was the 3rd Mitchell to join. And then all the others come after us. And I read for him again, read on tape, did a screen test from there and then. And I literally, that was it. I went home. And the other girl that was sitting in reception with me, her mum went, you're going to get this job.
Right.
So why shouldn't you just different to other people? Should have got a different air about you and confidence. I think it's because we went to Sylvia's, we was always working.
Yeah.
It's a stage school. You sing, dance and acting all day long. You just got a different air of confidence, I think, because you live and eat and breathe in the industry 6 days a week. And you're always working. You're used to being on sets and being around people. You're not phased by cameras and castings. And, if they said you do 6 cartwheels in the splits whilst eating an ice cream, you'll do it. Do you know what I mean? Whereas any other kid would be going like that. You'll be like, hang on a minute, yeah, I can do that.
And what was and obviously when you got the call saying you are now Sam
They phoned
Mitchell,
me that night, 6 o'clock that night.
Wow.
And they said, you start tomorrow, 8 o'clock, they send a car for you at 7:15.
Fucking hell.
I literally, Sylvia rang me, and I remember being my mum and dad's in Loughton. And back then, she used to have the phone upstairs, didn't you? My mum had a telephone voice on. Hi, Sylvie, yes, I'll get her for you. That's 01648, one of those ones, and they answered the phone. And so, yeah, that was that. So Sylvie come and look at the phone.
Did your mum have her ears on when she answered the phone?
Did her bunny ears. She had a little bunny tail on, yeah. My dad come in with a stretcher and roll the carpet on his back. No, so, yeah, she answered the phone. She started putting the phone to me, and you've got to think about them ears, I could tell.
Yeah,
your mind's ticking, isn't
there's just them bunny girls with the ears. I don't know what it is, but
there's something about it, isn't it? There's something about that little bunny outfit. Right. We'll order you one.
Have you got? Can you get me one in extra large? I'll
get you one.
Next time I see you, I'll have it.
I want to see you at the next premiere. I'll put a soldier in one. You and Andy in matching costumes. You can have a pink one. And she went, yeah, you've got, listen, good news. So I thought, that's good news. She went, good news, considering you got expelled 2 weeks ago, because I got expelled from her school and I was only allowed in for exams, so I was a bit naughty. She went, you got the job to start tomorrow. They've changed it from a 3-month contract for 6 months straight away. And then when my 6-month contract come up, I signed for another 6 years.
Wow.
So I literally started the next morning. They wanted me to bring in a pair of little denim hot pants. I started the next morning and I literally walked in there, went straight into my dressing room, went into hair and makeup. Sid walked in 10 minutes late as usual, like me. And he went, I knew it'd be you. You'll do. I'll have you as my missus. And that was us for 10 years.
Wow.
That was us. That was our relationship for 10 years and then back and forth after that. And we still talk today a lot. We grew up together in front of the nation, really, since I was 16.
And because I know it's like 3 months worth of filming before it comes out.
6 weeks. Well, it is now. We film up to 28 episodes a week.
Wow.
Because we're filming with 3 teams.
When you were waiting for it to first come out, was you thinking...
I didn't really give a shit because I was doing different things, you know what I mean? But back then, you've got to remember, I'll tell you a funny story, that I was waiting for it to come. Obviously, we've been filming a little while, and I weren't really worried about it. I weren't really flashed for anything. I've done loads of different work before. But I didn't really quite understand the concept of how much it was going to change my life. Because there was only 3 channels. Channel 4 had been launched a year before. We didn't have Sky. We didn't have internet. We didn't have anything like that. So we had 4 channels on the telly.
Back then it was 20 odd million
28
people,
million people an episode we used to get watching us. And me and Sid went away to Gretna Green. We got 31.5 million views.
Wow.
To get married when we ran away to get married.
That was probably half the country then, right?
Half the country watching the show, do you know what I mean? It's like Christmas Day. So 28 million. I mean, now they struggle to get 4 million views because we've got so much to watch now. So it's hard now for a show to hit 10 million or whatever, or let alone those sorts. And I remember the boys coming in to my dressing room the week before. They both knocked, Phil and Grant. They've come in the room and they've sat down and Stevie sits there. Steve, like, oh, Phil, Phil. And then Ross is like that by the door. And they went, listen, we just want a little word of you. I was like, yeah, they went, your life's going to change dramatically. Everyone's going to be you're going to be big news. It's the second biggest soap opera in the country, after Corrie, obviously. You're a young couple on the show. You're young. Everything's going to be, the world's going to go mad for you.
Right.
Because remember, we didn't have internet, this, that and the other. We only had like the red top papers. We used to camp outside your door back then. It wasn't instant gratification with internet and things like that. People didn't know. They couldn't leak anything or do anything. It was, your premiere was that night and everyone was tuning in for different things, new characters, new storylines. It was big deals. Like Who Killed Dirty Den. It was all like back then.
I remember Dirty Den.
Now things get lost, don't they?
Yeah.
Too much choice. And I thought, yeah. And I sat there like that, like I know it all. Went, yeah, okay. They went, no, your life is going to really change dramatically. You've really got to watch yourself from now on. You can't be getting the tube to work and this, and this, because there's some weird people out there. And I thought, yeah, that's fine. And literally my first episode went out and I got on the train the next day and people were just all staring at me like that. And I was going, thinking, have I got something on my face? Or what is that? Do you know what I mean? Have I come here, got chocolate on my face? What's wrong with me? And they were just looking at me and it was everywhere I went. Right. And I remember that first week, I literally was with Sid and then everyone's going, it's Ricky and Sam everywhere we go. And it was crazy because me and Sid were really close. We used to go on holiday together and all that, growing up and worked together all the time. We were the best of friends. And it really did. It changed my life overnight.
What happened when Bianca got involved? Did that upset you?
I loved it. I love working with Patsy because we get to have good old tear up and we have cat fights and all that. We love it. And we get right stuck in and the stuntmen is going, no, we're still punching lumps out of each other.
Did you ever, because her thing was so, I mean, I know when Sid went recently on the Banged Up programme.
Yeah, he got banged up. He couldn't handle it in the chair in the cell.
Like, okay. Like, you've got Ricky.
I'd love to do that Banged Up programme. But I think
apparently they're doing one for women.
They should. I'll do it. I know, but they might keep me in if I've got any warrants outstanding. Get me to send me in some canteen too.
Daniella, you can't knock anybody out.
No, not anymore because I can't eat back.
I always find I think now because lots of people are on the internet, everyone could be.
We're so accessible,
Insta famous or whatever, and obviously if you're on a TV show now, people probably won't understand that the fame now isn't like the fame then, because like you said, when 28 million people are watching it, literally, like you said, after the train, all turn around, look at it, you're going, there's a bird off EastEnders.
Because the night before, that's what they did. They got him from tea. It weren't like now where people go to the gym, this, that, and that weren't the sort of lifestyle.
No, it was literally you sit and you eat, you watch
your dinner, you watch EastEnders, you watch something else.
Right?
Yeah.
You sit everyone watch
tea,
EastEnders.
Sunday afternoon, hungover, watching EastEnders with your roast dinner. Do you know what I mean? People, it was part of 3 o'clock after the Queen's speech, bit of EastEnders on a Christmas Day. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's, it's part of English culture growing up.
Yeah. And did you stop going on the train after that, or did you just think,
I'll get on the tube and I'll do whatever, do you know what I mean? I didn't. I learned to drive straight away and it In fact, my best friend Ginny, who was my best friend from school from 4, she's still my best mate now. She's a year and a half older than me, so I bought, within like 2 months of being at work, so I was earning a fortune as well for being 16. I bought a brand new, back then it was a Vitara Jeep. Was the
I remember
thing.
the convertible ones.
Yeah, so my number plate was J61 up you. So I bought a brand new Vitara and I give it to Ginny when I was 16. I bought it, I gave it to her and she drove me to work every day.
Right.
And then used to pick me up from work as well. And and I bought a flat. The Barclays Bank gave me a mortgage at 17.
Wow.
My mum and dad, they couldn't wait to throw the money at me. So I mean, they'd give me a guarantee. Mum and dad had to come in and sign guarantor because I was in a good job, stable job. I was earning big money.
Right.
So I bought a repossession in Woodford, a penthouse, did all that up, and then I fell in love with Brian, and he took the lot off me.
Really?
Well, his management did. His manager did, yeah.
Right. Well, what happened then? You didn't get married, did you?
No, I fucking dodged a bullet there. Let me tell you. No.
Because you said marriage years earlier, so.
Yeah, I've been married twice. First one was it was a lot more of a business deal to get away from somebody else.
Right.
I met a fella in a petrol station and he married me 6 weeks later and I gave him a lump of money to marry me and leave me alone so someone else would leave me alone.
Your life's complicated, isn't it, Daniella?
Yeah, but it makes a good story. It makes for good reading, I tell you. So there's a lot of my life, people don't know that side of my life. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of other sides of like the people that I met through, I met you.
Right.
Your criminal connection, I know a lot of different people.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that's a part of my life people don't know about.
Yeah, Daniella knows lots of wrong uns.
Because she is one, yeah. Do you know what? I'm from East London and it's growing up, that East London pub culture club. Do you know what I mean? That whole thing, it's just who run pubs and clubs back then, isn't it? So you just know that growing up. And obviously I was in EastEnders, so I used to get booked to go to all them sort of pubs and that to do things.
Look at Barbara Windsor, you know, she was best mates for the KRAYS, right?
I learned from the best from the bar, yeah.
You was the...
Charlie Cray did my 18th birthday for me.
What was he DJing?
No, he hired all my party and all that for me. He did all the party and all that for me in the Spencer's Arms over in Orchard.
But the funny thing is, and for a lot of people that watch or listening to this show, they won't necessarily know this, but back in the sort of 60s, you know, whether they're mob guys in New York or Vegas or mob guys here, there was always a thing where boxers, celebrities, gangsters, there's like a melting pot of
especially these
models, you know what I mean? Everyone sort of hangs out.
Yeah, all that lot.
Everyone's good pals, right?
Yeah.
Barbara Windsor, George Raft, there was a few of them that were around the KRAYS in the 60s.
I love Bar. She was one of my best friends ever. She was like my mother to me. Very, very close to Bar all my life, because I originally met Bar obviously through that crowd of people, not through actors.
Right.
I met Bar through the KRAYS and that's how I met Barbara. Right. For the KRAYS and for the Richardsons and all that, that's how I met her. So totally different side of life. And then when she came into EastEnders, the boys, Phil and Ross and Stevie had been rallying to get Bar in for about 3 years to play her mum. She was like the ultimate person. And before she went back to EastEnders, you know, she used to say herself, she was a jobbing actor, going to do one-woman shows in theatres, literally living hand to mouth. She didn't have any work. She's gone through the age I am now, a bit like me, just out dead in the water for acting-wise. Like, come out of the industry, it was quite hard for her. And then she got into EastEnders, and she just lit the place up. She is our queen, do you know what I mean? We love her.
She was a massive star with the Carry On films, wasn't she?
She only ever made 5 or 6 Carry On movies out of all 14 movies. She was only in a few of them. Yeah.
I thought she was the woman of the Carry On woman.
She just made what she was in memorable, and she was there. But she went into New York. She did what was it? Sparrows Can't Sing, in the musical. She went and did that on Broadway. She's done it here in London. She like me. She wasn't the best singer, dancer, and actress ever, but she was memorable, and she just worked hard. And she was a Cockney. She was cheeky, and she just.
Right.
And I think a lot of places I go, like even now, if I get in a London cab, they all want to chat to me, and I've sort of got that from. Right. I've sort of picked up the baton a little bit from Bar.
And what was her advice?
Well, I used to just say to her, I remember when I came back I was living in California, and I came back to do EastEnders after I'd been away 10 years. I was clean and sober and everything, came back to do the show. So I was staying between Anthony Mortimer, funny enough, E17, I was staying with Anthony Trace when I flew back, and at Bars. And I just said to her, Bar, anywhere we wanted to go, we'd have to leave an hour beforehand. Because just even walking through a restaurant, going to the Ivy or whatever with her, it'd take you 20 minutes to get across the restaurant. So everyone go, hello, Barbara. Hello. She'd go, hello, darling. Hello, darling. Hello. And she'd make time for everybody.
Yeah.
And I should just look at her and think, wow, you just don't switch off from publicly you're Barbara Windsor and indoors you're just Bar. You know? Like she'd come home, kick the shoes off, put the kettle on, and she'd go, oh, God, sit down. She'd just be Bar. But everywhere we went, she was Babs.
Right.
And every black cabbie and everyone just loves Babs. Do you know what I mean? They love her. And even when she was old and little, she was still that little Cockney Sparrow.
bubbly sort,
She was still that Cockney Sparrow, that little, Bosh, you know what she was like. But I remember coming home one day and I said to her, Bar, how did you do it? She went, you just got to remember, when you've been out in the wilderness for a lot. I mean, remember, I was married to Kevin at the time. I had a hell of a lot of money. Right. A multi-millionaire. So I didn't have to worry about anything. So it wasn't until after that, and I hit her on hard times, the light bulb went on for me, and I remembered what she was saying to me. She went, you've got to remember, I've been out in the wilderness for a long time. I had my fame young, like you've got yours. She said, and God forbid it ever happens to you, and it has. You know, she said, you'll realise when the public's still nice to you and you're going through that, you can't give up, you can't lay down and die. You've got to keep doing what you love inside, where you're acting what you're meant to do. Even if it's the smallest of jobs or littlest of things, just keep doing your thing. So when something big will come, you've got to have the faith.
Right.
And the want. And we walked into, about 3 days later, we walked into Tesco's. So Tesco's just getting a meal deal or whatever for lunch. And the bloke on the till, and he said something to her, and she just looked at him and she looked at his name badge. She went, thank you so much, Josh. Have a lovely afternoon, my darling. Chat to him, and his face lit up because she'd read his name.
Right.
And it was them personal things with Barbara that she was just so personal to other people. She made them feel special. Everyone she met, she made them feel special. She gave them that little bit of time. And it taught me how to be humble, how to make sure everybody you meet, you're never too busy to not have a photograph. Even if you're in the middle of your dinner, just 2 seconds, it takes 2 seconds. Because it takes that person a lot of courage to come over and say hello or to do whatever. It's quite
As
a big
a side
deal.
note, they should wait until you finished eating. Because then you can actually have a conversation, not just like have a picture, quickly, my food's getting cold.
Yeah. But I just think it takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
And also the other thing to that is as well, and that's another thing I learned, was to pick your places. And that's what I have a real bugbear with these like young people that come out of Love Island, and don't get me wrong, they're lovely kids and they're Towie and all that. But it just seems to a lot of them have no decorum with certain things. Like they'll go to the Toby Carvery at 2 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon and get the raving ump when everybody can there wants a picture with them. Then don't go to the Toby Carvery when you've just come out a top show at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Go somewhere else that's quieter.
Yeah.
If you don't want that attention, then don't go to that place.
I mean, the Toby Carvery, if you go
I love
anywhere,
the Toby Carvery, mate.
If you go anywhere, like if you walk around a shopping mall, if you go to Weatherspoons, if you go anywhere like that, if you go to a boxing fight, if you're on the telly or
you've got to expect you're going to work.
People are going to come up to you and go, hello, mate, whatever.
Look at in Brentwood High Street, and I've been on telly for 10 years, you know what I mean? Or Black Cabbages. You've just got a bit of time to be nice to people.
Yeah.
And Barbara taught me to have that time for someone.
Someone said to me...
You could be having a blazing round and just go, yeah, hello, no. Do you know what I mean? You have to... when you're outside, you've got to just behave a certain different way.
Someone said to me this great quote. They said, it's nice to be important.
It's important to be nice.
And I love that. Because it's true, because... everyone likes to, like, even if you're not important, right? Even if you just turn up at a
doesn't matter.
Nice hotel and they go,
afternoon,
Mr. Smith, lovely to see you. You go, he knows my name.
Just makes you feel special. See what I mean?
And it's the same thing.
That name thing, isn't it?
People just want you to.
It's just a little bit of etiquette, and it's nice to be humble, but it's nice to be nice back to somebody.
Yeah.
And I think it does take an awful lot for somebody to come up and ask you a picture. Yeah. Unless they're pissed on a night out and they no one cares. Do you know what I mean? They're all like, I'll picture. Let's have a go at your tits. And you get all that, do you know what I mean? For people all the time.
Do people actually say that?
All the time.
Wow.
Get your gear out.
It's...
That's what I get all the time. Got any gear? Got a number? I'm like, it's down to people like you. I went skimp, buy your own. Do you know what I mean? It's like, buy your own bits. Sod off.
With the EastEnders thing, obviously, you've got this like massive level of fame. And obviously, you're getting invited to, parties. You're probably getting off
I went out with Tom Cruise to do things. I've just done so many different things. I went out with Stephen Dorff. I used to be with Stephen Dorff, the American actor, for a while.
So who are the most famous people you've met?
I want to say a huge thanks to our sponsors, Fragrance du Bois. Now, for those of you that don't know about Fragrance du Bois, where have you been? It is one of the leading luxury fragrances, only available in Harrods, Selfridges, and Neiman Marcus in New York. They've got so many different fragrances for men, for women. All of the fragrances are unisex, so make sure you get involved and sample the delights of Fragrance du Bois. For all the Criminal Connection podcast crew, we've got a special discount for you. 10% off. All you need to do when you click on the link below and choose your luxury fragrance is to put in CCPOD10 for the 10% discount.
Lady Diana, probably.
What was she like?
Quite often. I met her at Michael Barrymore's house, actually. Right. She used to go around there quite a lot because she used to make her laugh. Right. So I met her privately just in Michael's. Wow. She was there quite often because Cheryl used to be my agent, his ex-wife. Right. Lady Di was lovely. George Michael, obviously. Sharon and Ozzy. Right. God, I can't think.
What's Michael Barrymore like?
Michael's fun. He's wonderful. Right. Wonderful. Yet another scapegoat for the system, though. Right.
Because he obviously... I mean, that thing that happened at his house.
Yeah, but he was involved with the same people I was involved with through the industry, through work, and we've been made scapegoats for other people.
Right.
And he was used as a scapegoat at his house because it was in his property that happened.
But somebody told me that was working on the case that he left the house.
He left them in his house?
No, he left. As in, like, when the guy, the problem with the guy that drowned or whatever, then he left. And obviously it made him look bad. So if he'd have actually rung the police at that point...
Oh, I don't know any of this.
Well, no, someone told me, and again, this could be, it could be true.
Who knows, yeah.
But someone said that obviously he was having a party with some fellas around his house. There was taking drugs. There was obviously some sexual things going on. This guy, I don't know if he drowned in a pool or whatever.
I don't know.
But
yeah.
I think basically, whatever happened, he left. And then the police come.
His house as well.
But that's what I mean. So it looked bad that he left. It looked like he run away. And then also, it's... I think when they did the autopsy on I think his name's Stuart.
Stuart Level, yeah.
They said that he'd been assaulted or he had... So whether he had been assaulted or whether
something
it was
happened,
consensual,
you're never going to know.
It was probably a sex party gone wrong. But obviously the fact that he left the building... Like Elvis leaving the building.
Yeah,
Elvis left the building. If he hadn't left the building, then it would have probably looked better on him.
He's gone from the scene of crime.
But I mean, he got basically cancelled after that, didn't he? I mean,
everything got cancelled, yeah.
But
and he was huge for ITV.
He was massive.
And he even went on One Big Brother, and they still didn't give him anything back.
Wow.
But no, Michael's doing really well. I think he's like 15 years clean or something now.
Oh, right, okay.
He's doing really good. But he got back into recovery and. Some things, setbacks like that, I think if you've got an addiction problem and stuff anyway, you just naturally go back and pick up your drug of choice, whether it's alcohol, drinks, sex, whatever it is. Right. I think when you get big setbacks, and especially publicly. And
with you, Daniella, obviously you've got, this level of fame, you ran out with Tom Cruise, you're doing all this mad shit. When did the drugs, was it everyone was taking drugs or
I got given drugs when I was 11, when I was being abused.
Wow.
They gave us coke. Like when they put the rat poison in coke. It makes people go stiff like that and all paranoid and they stop breathing, they're holding their breath, and when people get all digi and
and that's
paranoid.
It's a rat poison.
That's when they put a rat poison in. They mix it with like a bicarb and a rat poison because it's just, it tastes the same. Right. But like when they give a rat poison, it just starts going all funky and then it can't, and it stiffens up. It's that in the gear that makes you go all para.
So you're an 11-year-old girl.
And they give you that to make you quiet.
Who was that did?
Ring. In the celebrities. Wow. I was working in the West End and stuff like that. I was abused quite heavily.
So because you was in these music videos, you was doing the...
Yeah, I wasn't abused in music videos, but I was abused in a lot of TV work I did and a lot of theatre.
Right.
A lot of people from Silver Youngs are witnesses for that.
Wow. And what was... And it was just literally...
And that's why Brian Harvey gives me a really hard time about it now.
Right.
Because I just did this Louis Theroux documentary about it with Robbie, and obviously Robbie wasn't abused, but with Robbie and Brian Harvey, and they were like, why is Brian so onto you about this whole thing, saying that Anthony Mortimer's been abused and this one? And basically their manager, Tom Watkins, who's now dead, he was in charge of that whole music industry, like that Jay-Z type, that secret service, that secret society shit. He was the head of that with the rings. So he used to come to our school and scout young boys to do jobs and stuff like that.
Rings, they are, because obviously you've had them. People have been talking about them in the press.
Well, back then we used to have children's homes, Bernardo's and stuff, and there used to be a lot of kids brought down from children's homes and all that sort of stuff that were picked from a booklet for high society, and they would pay a price to abuse that child, and that's basically what it was.
That is outrageous.
Yeah, and then we were the same. But Sylvia Young didn't know anything about it. She didn't know it was going on. But we were obviously working in the West End with these people. I worked with Gary Glitter, lots of people like that. So I've been abused heavily.
They were giving you the drugs?
The people within that, not necessarily the celebrity, but people within that ring would give us the drugs to keep us quiet, and alcohol at a very young age.
So they would get you basically
get us fucked up and just abuse us.
Wow. And that would be...
They'd abuse us about the drugs, but then you abuse you with the drugs as well. So basically my first drug was coke.
Right.
Ever. And it's sort of whatever you first pick up. They give you that and alcohol. It's just a stimulant and a sedative.
And that was... So Jimmy Savile and Gary Glitter.
I worked with both of those two, yeah.
What about Ralph Harris?
Didn't work that one. Didn't go down under.
Right. Good day,
No,
mate.
good day, mate.
But that is...
You like
fucked
two
up.
little boys. What?
That is fucked up. I mean...
It is, but you either see, again, just going back to the start of the conversation, you either sink or you swim.
So when with the abuse, did you not think of actually raising the alarm or telling anybody? Or, I mean, what was... Did you... Cause,
No, because I was working. It was a small industry and it was happening to all of us. And there was actually people that are older than me that used to stand in front of me. And as I got older, I stood in front of other people so they didn't abuse the younger ones. It was like, no, just use me, don't use them. And I saw that happen with me, so I just sort of followed suit, just use me. And it was very, very difficult, but you just get on with it. Do you know what I mean? Do you know, if you hand 10 people in, if you put 10 people together randomly off the street, I guarantee at least 6 of them have been abused in one way or another growing up. Wow. That's just life, and it's never going to change.
Well, I mean,
whether that's being touched up on a tube or being abused, or
if I was,
you know,
if I'd have experienced that in your business, I would have probably thought maybe it's time to get a fucking different job. Do you know what I mean?
But when you're little, you don't know, and when it's happening to all of you.
And did that carry on
think
throughout?
That's normal.
It carried on throughout.
I carried on till I was about 14, 15, and then I went to EastEnders, and there was none of that.
Right? Because all the stuff. I mean, maybe because now it's a different era. I mean, I only come into this business 21 years ago.
Yeah.
But I've never seen anything like that.
Gone that fast.
You know, it's not.
It's nothing. You don't see anything like that these days.
But it was bad back then.
Oh, it was hugely bad back then. We've only got to look at the KRAYS. You can say that Ronnie KRAYS used to have a young boy on his arm all the time.
Yeah, because that was with that. Is
and
it
he
Lord
was
Boothby? That was all.
Lord Boothby,
right.
and he was supplying all the government with all the boys and all that stuff, weren't he?
Wow.
So it's always been there, whether that be on the level of the gangster side of it or celebrity side of it. It's always been there. And I think now everything's much more PC, where even to the point now at EastEnders, you've got a mentor system. So when you came in, like Jake Woods is my mentor when I was there, who played, what does he play? Jack Branning. No, not Jack Branning. I had an affair with Jack Branning. Max Branning. Right. Played Max Branning. And he was my mentor. So you have a mentor from a different family that you don't really have a lot of work to do with.
Right. And
that's just someone you can say, can you just run these lines with me? Or do you want to grab a coffee? I'm having a shit day today, or this storyline's getting me down. And they've got that. So everybody's got somebody to vent to.
Well, that's nice,
which is a really nice thing to do. I have to say, their quality of care at EastEnders is second to none. Right. They really do look after the cast.
Yeah.
And company managers and things like that. We really are very lucky there in that side of things. The cast, the quality of care for cast is very good.
And you obviously had this. You said earlier about that you was a witness for what's.
I had to go in and give witness statements against certain people that have abused me within the industry, and because I decided to keep that confidential, because the way I see it is this: my children have had enough trolling, and still get trolled now for me being a crackhead or whatever they want to call me, a crackhead or whatever.
Right.
It's not crack, I'll just have you know. Yeah, so they get trolled enough,
right,
for one thing or another about being my kids. They used to, not so much now, but they've suffered enough. I just thought, why do I need another story? I don't want a payday on it.
Right.
And also their families and their children, so they're dead now, people that have abused me, but or some of them. I don't need it to be public.
Have they brought these people to justice, though, the ones that are alive?
Yeah, they brought them to justice. But like the Gary Glitters and that, they're still getting away with things, getting away with blue murder.
I mean, what shocked me about Gary Glitter is,
he's vile, I hate him.
I grew up on listening to his music, and I can honestly say...
You sing that song, You Want to Be in My Gang?
I wanted to be in his gang, but thank God I never fucking got it.
Yeah, do you want to be in my gang, my gang? And it's all about being a pedophile.
And you look at him, and you do want to sort of punch his head in. And then when you see
what
he was doing...
I used to go nights out of him all the time,
but when you see him doing that shit he was doing in Vietnam...
With them young children.
And then he comes back
like
here...
7, 8 year old. And that was me once.
But he got nicked, and then he's fucking starts doing it again, looking at pictures and looking on the internet, and then they put him back in jail.
He's sick as a pig, the guy.
You can't... What people like that, you can't fix them.
No, they're just wired up wrong. They're wired up wrong, but they shouldn't be allowed to be walking around in society.
I agree.
And it's funny because I was just talking about this the other night, and I lived in the States for many years, and we have a thing there called Megan's Law. I think it's Megan's Law, where you get a red, amber, and then like a yellow dots, and you have like a 5 or 6 mile radius of your property and your kid's school, and you can see every single street where red dots are, yellow dots and orange dots. Now, a yellow dot is like underage 16 years old. If you've been caught having someone who's both 16,
Right.
you get a sex offenders list for it. Or if you get caught pissing in the street, silly things, it's like exposing yourself, that's classed as. That's a yellow dot, so that's nothing. An orange dot is somebody that's downloaded material or been known to be sort of like looking into grooming or doing things, or known to be doing it children too long or after kids. And the red ones are people that have abused, attacked, murdered or whatever kids.
So the red one's the
red ones. So you can see who lives in your vicinity or who lives opposite your children's school. Now, we couldn't have that in this country because people would be going around setting fire to their houses.
Yeah.
But in America, where they've got guns and that, it sort of works.
I'm surprised they're not going to be shooting them, to be honest.
No, but you just know where they are and what they're doing. You know to keep your kids away from them houses. And they have their photograph and everything on there.
I know it sounds mad, but I think they should all be rounded up and put
I think they should be dropped on an island and the food dropped to them and
put
castrated.
somewhere.
They should be castrated.
I think they should be just kept out of the way because
And the women ones get me. A lot of women are doing it.
Right.
And that just gets me when you can birth a child and have a tendency to think of that child as anything but a baby.
my friend's been out. He just come out of jail, been in for 20 years, and he got put for a day, and then he got shipped out to one of the, I think it's called the Monsters Mansion, Wakefield, and he went up there, and he said when he went out on the thing, they said, oh, you know, you can do an extra, because he was an older guy. They said, oh, you can do these extra activities, tennis and that, but you have to associate with the vulnerable prisoners. That's what they call them, basically.
Not vulnerable, just
No, basically, but that's what they're called, right? And he said, like, when you see these people, he said you wanted to weigh them in.
but they're not. They are.
Yeah, but he said the stuff that when he was saying to
And then
one
they're
of-
all put in there together, talking about things.
yeah, and it's not, it's
Stick them on the wing and let them get kicked in, I say.
but genuinely, if you can't fix these people,
You can't.
put
They're
them
off
in jail
key.
is not going to help. But they should be kept
But then
somewhere.
they're putting them out in society after jail.
they should
And they're
be.
housing them next to schools and stuff like that. Who does that? Corrupt people in
It's
government that
stupid.
aren't. It's so unsafe. This country's just so unsafe in one way or another.
It's changed quite rapidly over the last 10 years. You know, with the with the street crime and
It
the
has,
machetes.
but I do sort of agree as well. I think people are rising up against certain things, and it's like, and they've made it impossible in this country to be able to live and survive. And I think that's why street crime's coming where it is today, because, you know, the cost of living is up here and the wages have stayed here. Yeah. Everything's so expensive. Your gas, your lecky, everything you can think of, your council tax, going to the gym, running a vehicle.
Right.
Without feeding your kids or something. You know, like silly thing, I was speaking to my brother yesterday and he went, I took the kids to Nando's the other, and he ain't tight by the best of means, you know what I mean? None of us are. But he said to kids, and one of them had their mate with him, he said he'd come to 98 quid for a Nando's.
Right.
3 kids and him and his
Chicken and chips,
missus. For a bit of chicken and chips. He went, Dan, I'm not tight, but, you know, it's school holidays. Do that 3 or 4 times a week.
Right. Yeah.
That's 500 quid a week or whatever time. They want to do something every day. It's the school holidays.
Yeah.
People just can't afford to do anything with them. And then people go, well, they shouldn't have kids if they can't afford them. But that's not the point. They can afford them. It's this country we can't afford.
Right.
And I just think it's a shame, because I think we've just gone down the pan. We just slid down the pan. There's fights on tubes. There's parents fighting in playgrounds. It's just, there's people walking in and stabbing kids on a kids club and killing them up in Stockport last week. I mean, what's going on here?
How can we fix it, Daniela? What do we need to do?
I think everyone just needs to chill the fuck out, mate. A little bit, do you know what I mean? I think that is, how do we fix it? I don't know.
I think you should give everybody some weed, let them smoke it.
Something, mate. Give them all a sedative or something, do you know what I mean? Everyone needs something.
But your experience, like you said, when you was growing up, when you was a child, and you were given these drugs, you've obviously been sort of molested and assaulted by these people. I mean, how did you kind of cope with that as a kid? Because that must have had some sort of.
We was all going through the same thing, because you've got to remember, when I was at Sylvia's, I went full time at 11. My secondary school, whatever age that is, 11, 12. And then from the age of 8 to 16, there was only 120 of us in the school.
Right.
From 8 years old to 16, that's a very small school. So we were like a little family. And it was happening to a lot of us. A lot of us worked all the time.
Did you get a taste for the drugs really from that?
For me, anything that was painful, I just turned to coke.
Right.
When I couldn't deal with the amount of pressure and fame and everything, because they said my life had changed overnight, this, that, the other, I was here doing taking out drugs, maybe on a Friday night, maybe with the girls or dudes, whatever. But my mates used to go out have a night out, get on the ease or do whatever they were doing, get a kebab and go home. I was never that girl. I'm like, where are we going now? Let's go to a spill. Let's go so-and-so. Let's go. Do you know what I mean? I was like having it out in South London. Now I'm from Essex.
Right.
I'm out with Tamara and all that lot. Do you know what I mean? And just having a wild time, being out for 3 days. But my mates weren't like that. Like my best friend Ginny, she just like weren't on drugs. And she was like,
Right.
why did you do that? 1 minute we're riding horses and having fun. The next minute you're fucking going out with George Michael and I've got to get up for college in the morning. Do you know what I mean? She said, you're out with George Michael. She said, you're bringing Robbie Williams down the pub on a Friday night. Do you know what I mean? Sneaking him out the Savoy on a fucking I snuck him out on a fucking trolley. One of them trolleys for your room service. We snuck him out on one of them.
That's brilliant.
Went to Brown's and all that because he weren't allowed out the hotel, so we stuck him out of the Savoy.
Right. Because he used to like partying, didn't he?
I used to have a ball, me and Robbie, and with Liam as well. Liam Gallagher used to come out of us as well all the time. But
did he always walk around and go, Maffret?
Yeah, it was like that all the time, all the time. But Robbie was just great. And then he put on loads of weight, so my little boy used to call him Wobbly Williams.
I bet he loved that.
Yeah.
Wobbly.
Because Kai couldn't say his R's very well, so he used to call him Wobbly Williams. But yeah, no, Robbie was cool. It was great. And then I went out, and I was also with Brian, and Brian hated it whenever I split up with Brian, I went back to Robbie, and vice versa. I was between the two for years. And then Brian was like, I'm going to marry her, so he could never go back to Robbie Williams.
Right.
And I was going to marry him, and he's the manager, just put the car book on it. His manager was feeding me loads of
Right.
sending it down with a reminder and that every week to get me worse and worse and worse. And then Brian went off on tour once, and then I had a load of guys in black suits come through my front door and put me in a rehab for 3 months. And they put me in a padded cell, first of all, for the first 4 days.
Right.
Put me in a rehab, started to sign my house and everything over to him, so I'd never see him again.
Because
he didn't want the lead singer getting married because all the girls would have fucking gone mad.
Was you bad on it then or not?
By that time, I was taking about 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces a week. But I was flushing it down the loo. I was paranoid. I was 6 stone 2 when they took me into rehab. You could literally count the vertebrae on my back.
If it was 1.5 ounces you was doing a week,
There's a lot of dough.
What is
That's what it was.
What is that? If you do how many grams?
42 grams a week.
So you was doing 42 grams a week,
Yeah.
and you was actually working on EastEnders at the same time.
No, I was off EastEnders at that point, but I was doing gear when I was at EastEnders for a long time when I was young. Yeah.
Well, actually, when you was on set.
Not when I was first there, yeah. Not when I was first there, I think the second time back.
Right.
They had to get rid of me in the end because I passed out once. I had a cocaine convulsion.
Right.
And I fell from the top of the stairs in the Vic. I just passed clean out and Ross Kemp caught me at the bottom. And the producer come over the box and said, pick her up and make her work.
Because there was a TV interview that you did, and I can't remember what it was. And everyone was going, oh, she's cucked up and all this.
Oh, yeah, on the Priory, I was fucking off my nut.
Right, okay, yeah, because you I
was
think
having a fucking face on
you was
that.
on like Lorraine or something, weren't you?
No, that was Kerry. I did, no, it weren't on Lorraine.
Which
I
one
weren't on
was it
Coked
on?
Up. It was on the Priory with Zoe Ball and all that. No, that was called the Priory of all things.
Right.
And that's when Michael Brownwell's wife went, you are going to treatment tonight. I was like, can't I just have a week at Champneys? She was like, a week at Champneys Health Club in Old Farm's not going to do it.
Right.
And they shipped me off to Arizona. But no one would fly me because my heart was failing. I was having convulsions. I was having fits. My son was like 4.5 years old ringing ambulances for me.
When you was doing that amount, was there any moments when you just thought, I just can't do this anymore?
I just didn't want to wake up. I didn't want to be here. I
So
was
you
sick.
did it-
I was sick of being nice to people on the outside. And inside, I was dying. Yeah, inside I was dying because I.
So would you say you was like really depressed? And
I was depressed since the day they took me away from Brian. I was depressed,
Right.
and they hid me in that. And I had police, like lots of police, but some form of government people come with Tom Watkins people to keep me away from Brian. I had to sign everything back to the company. And he said I came home from Germany, and I just couldn't find you. I couldn't find you anywhere. He said there wasn't even a hairband left of yours in the house. Every single trace of you living in that house was gone. Literally within 3 days. Everything that I owned, everything was gone. They cleared the whole place and had a whole place re-cleaned and everything like I'd never lived there. He said I couldn't find you, and he just went off his head about it because we loved each other to bits.
Right.
He was the first person I ever loved, really, and I think, and now he's just got a bee in his bonnet about these, and now he's calling me, goes online, me and him argue on YouTube all the time because he's like, you're a procurer of children, you're a groomer for pedophiles, you're this and that because you haven't spoke out. And he knows I have, but I haven't chose to make it public
Right.
with the people because some things in life you need to keep private because that's for my own mental health as well.
Right.
I get trolled enough. So if I suddenly get trolled by telling people who's abused me and I get that thrown at me, I don't know if I would wake up, Terry, if I'm honest.
Right.
There's only so many things you can go up against, some things you need to keep private. And it was Kyle that said to me, Mum, I think you need to keep some anonymity around this for your own stability and your own mental health. If you're going to come back from things, you've done a lot of work on it, a lot of therapy on it. You come out the other side, you help a lot of other people, not only in addiction, but in abuse and in domestic abuse. He said, and you need to always, this is not a Band-Aid.
Right.
He said it's a scar that needs to heal. You can't just keep pulling a plaster off and picking at it and it keeps coming an open wound. He said, you need to really heal that before you can speak about it. And he said, but I don't think by speaking publicly about it is ever going to allow you to heal. So I took the advice from my own son, which I do often, as you know.
Right.
And I went with that and it has worked for me.
Yeah.
Some things you need to keep to you.
You can't give everyone everything out.
No, you can't. And I think also it happened to me a long time ago. There's people who paid their price. They've also got children that aren't sex offenders, so they deserve to have some form of amnesty in their life as well, you know.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that have been arrested and that against for that operation that we haven't even heard about yet.
Right.
People are coming out all the time.
I'm glad they're getting brought to justice or they're dead.
Same.
I'm glad you've made a stand and you've done what you've done. You know.
It's just a shame a lot of people have had to take their lives and stuff in the process, you know, that have been abused.
I mean, the thing is,
A lot of people I went to school with aren't here anymore.
if you haven't gone through that, you'd never understand the pain they've got. So for them to do that,
And as a parent, I've also been very paranoid of like, never used to let my kids stay out anywhere, especially my daughter.
yeah.
People staring at them too long on the beach and stuff. I used to be really wary of all sorts of stuff
But
like that.
fucking nutty birds, you can't. What are you looking at my kids for?
You
but
do
they don't
though.
know the fucking.
But also, like, you're in Disney, like, I wouldn't let my kids run around on the beach with no clothes on and stuff. 'Cause I was always paranoid about that. Like, in Disneyland, the biggest place, like, so many just hang out at Disneyland.
Right.
I don't know how many people know that, but it's I lived in the States for years, it's common knowledge.
Right.
It's where they spend a lot of their time is in Disneyland to pick up kids and to touch kids up in queues and stuff.
Wow. I mean, I went there once, but I never saw any of that. But
No one touched you, did they tell?
no, they didn't. Not that I know of.
You better go back. No, but you don't think that theme parks are big places for
I didn't even know that. So that's all theme parks. It's just
theme
like,
parks,
what?
amusement arcades, things like that. You'll always see blokes on their own that are, or women that are mostly blokes that are a bit nasty, the Roy Cropper types.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? And they'll always brush past kids. Or,
Who's Roy Cropper?
remember the one from Corrie looks like Roy Cropper, the one that got put in prison on Coronation Street, the character. You don't watch Corrie.
Right. Oh no, don't watch Coronation Street.
But they're always that sort of like nerdy history teacher look about them, that sort of, you know what you say, they're nasty.
Right.
And you'll always see them at theme parks, arcades, wherever you go, just keep an eye out. They'll be there. Do you know what I mean? And they'll always get near you in the queue and stuff and try and just rub past your kids and touch and...
I suppose if you're walking around and you see,
Your eyes
I
are
suppose
open.
if you've been
My
a
eyes
victim,
are open because I've been there.
if you've been a victim of it, then you're more aware of it than the normal body.
Sure, my eyes are open for that at all times.
Yeah.
With my kids and things, I watch for everything.
And with your, you obviously got this cocaine addiction.
Hi, I'm Daniella and I'm a cocaine addict.
Hi, I'm Daniella.
Cocaine addict.
And what did they do to help get you off it? Was it actually like putting you into like a clinic?
I've been into rehabs. Do you know what now I just do? I work the meetings.
Right.
I work a 12-step program. I work the meetings for me. I've got sponsors and stuff like that. Be of service.
So if you have a shit day, you just ring them up and say,
I
look.
just get to a meeting. I'll go to do an online meeting, do whatever. I do a resentment list every day. I do a gratitude list every morning.
Right.
I write my gratitude list.
What's the resentment list? People you hate?
No, resentment. Do you know what it is? Do you know it's really funny? Yeah, there is a bit of it. Myself, me. I hate one of them ones. No, resentment is basically you just do. I'll give them all my secrets now. So you do.
I'm just interested because I've never heard it before.
So you do 4 columns, right? So you do your resentment. So your first column is your resentment. Your second column is like, so say like it was something like, I'm in Tesco's today and this old bird pushed in front of me and I was fuming because whatever, right? Sweating out, do this, whatever. So that's your resentment. So that was that. Second thing is, what did you do? Like, how did you act? Right? Next column is, what did they do? What was the outcome?
Right.
So then the last column is, what could I have done differently?
Right.
So I've got a resentment. So you don't carry a resentment over.
So it just gets it.
You just get rid of it and you just let it go. So could be something really big, could be something small, like I just said. Like, what did I do? What did she do? How could I have done it differently? Wow, I could have been different. I could have just said, go on, you go around.
Right.
Change your mindset. Basically, it's changing a mindset.
Right.
That's all it is changing my mindset, changing the way I think about things. Just being present and being active, I think.
Right. And had you met Kevin by this point?
Kevin got me in rehab. He's paid me to go to 7 rehabs.
Right, so Kevin, when you actually, because that's when we met.
He tried to save my life. He saved my life, really, Kevin, and you know.
But
No,
what happened?
to all the outside world, he looked like he did. I won't really speak about Kev too much, but yeah, there's a lot of other things to it.
Yeah, to be honest.
But he had a lot of money, so, you know, he had a bit of dough to wash, so he stuck me in rehabs.
Right, okay.
And then we stuck the kids in private schools.
Right. But I met you through Kevin, through Dave Courtney when we was doing that film. So that was the first time I sort of come into your.
That was when I was using them, though.
But I didn't know that. I mean, you was Sam Mitchell from EastEnders.
Yeah.
And
he was a fucking big gangster of Addison, eh?
Who was?
Kevin.
Oh, was it? I thought he was yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
With his Premier Dispatch.
Right, okay.
But no, yeah. That's the only bit. I wouldn't have looked at him twice if he'd been straight, though, would I?
Right, okay.
Let's face it. If he'd have been straight, I'd have gone, no, I don't fancy a bit of you, son.
Right. But he obviously you know, you was with him, obviously he's prevented you.
I was with him 22 years,
That's a long time, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah, I'd have got less for murder.
My wife says that to me.
Did she?
On it, 23rd, we just got out of
We just had the anniversary, yeah.
23rd year anniversary at Kevin. She said to me, if I'd have killed you, I'd have been out of jail by now.
It's true, isn't it? Yeah. If only Courtney hadn't stopped that hit, I'd have been.
but you know, obviously he's tried to stop you killing yourself.
And then he went into rehab after me.
He put you in rehab.
Yeah, then he went in rehab after me.
Oh, did he have a problem as well?
He had a problem as well. And then we bought pubs because we couldn't have anywhere to drink that we could just take over. So we just bought a couple of pubs. Right. In SE1.
As you do.
As you do, yeah. Somewhere to drink after, because he owned most of SE1. He owned a lot of that block, all of Risborough Street. He owned all of them, all the arches and all that round there.
What's Kevin doing now? Do you still talk to him or?
No, he had an affair for 17 years and he's just married the bird. Funny enough, he's with this bird and that's that. He's married her now.
And obviously there was the famous thing where, obviously, and I can't remember exactly
what you're going to say about me driving the car through the pub, aren't you?
Well, no, there was two things. There was that, but
I drove his Porsche through the front of his pub and threw the keys at him.
We're over!
No, I just went, I don't work for you. I threw the keys at him. That was horrible.
Whatever.
Yeah, little shit.
Was that in the papers?
No, but we was under Robbo, so all the old Bill got all the pictures and that of it. I just drove this Porsche straight through the double doors of the pub and my cousin Chap was there and I just stood on the front of it and just got the keys and I threw them straight at him.
You Peggy
The baby had been in no, get out of my
you?
pub. I can't reverse the car out of it. I've stuck it through the double doors. And he just went, my car. I thought, your car? Your kid's sat in hospital and you're in here boozing.
Right.
So I just went mad, just put the car through. I've got a little bit of a temper sometimes. I can fly off the hands.
Anybody that ever dates Daniella, beware because she's a bit of a fiery character.
Do you know what? I just don't like to be made a fool of.
Right.
I'm the most loyal person. I'm the most ride-or-die person. I'll do anything for you. And I don't take people on board.
Right.
I've got very few friends. I know a lot of people. But they're not my friends. So I know a lot of people, as we all do. And if I've got a very small circle lately, the last 5 or 10 years, and if I have people in that circle, it's because I want them there and I can trust them, do you know what I mean? But especially in this industry, I work with a lot of people, so we know a lot of people. It doesn't mean they're friends, they're work colleagues or people you know. They're not people like when I lost my dad, there's not a lot of people you can count on to be there for you.
Right.
And it was the people that I least expected that stepped up and were there, that would ring me or text me every day because I just couldn't physically answer the phone. I just was, my head was gone.
Because when did the press get hold of the fact that you had a drugs problem? Because I remember it being like sensationalised in the paper.
Especially with the nose, I think.
Was that the start of it?
Yeah, a freaking little midget got a picture of me outside the Dorchester at the awards.
Right.
I stuck my tongue out and he got the shot right up my nose.
Right.
He's bought himself a plane and everything out of that picture. Do you know how much money he's earned out? Millions out of it.
Wow.
I didn't even get 20%. I didn't even get 20%. We didn't have camera phones then. But no, I was like, and that was that. Do you know what I mean? But
because that was a famous picture,
I've really tried to kill myself on drugs so many times.
Right.
To that point. So there must be a reason why I'm still here.
It's difficult to know what the reason is, but if you was meant to go, you'd have gone, definitely.
For sure. And I just think, I think God's given me a platform, or whoever's going to, what it is, you know, a platform so I can help, and I do help on a daily basis a lot of people. Right. Put them in the way of the right meetings. If they can't get to a meeting, how do I go out? I've got a bad drug problem. That, you know, sometimes it's easier to talk to somebody you don't know. So a lot of people message me daily on Instagram. I don't run my own socials that much, but what I do is I do go and check my Insta inboxes. I'll get back to all of those people, try and get them to a meeting or get someone to take them to a meeting. Just get them through the door, because people think you have to go to rehabs and doctor's surgery. You just need to get to a meeting. Right. Other addicts get addicts well, in a funny sense.
And when that guy took that picture, right, and it was all over
It was
the
a PAPS,
press.
yeah, PAPS. I was already in the Priory.
What did you? Because did you have an operation to fix your nose then?
I had 2 operations to fix it then, yeah.
And what had actually happened? Was it the cartilage that fell out?
The whole of the inside of my septum had gone and my cartilage. Just wore the whole lot away.
Wow.
And then this year I've had to slice it again so I can breathe. Because
You know what? I don't even like
in my
needles, so
thing.
you just saying that's made me go like that.
I've had to slice it so I can breathe because I'm waiting for operations. The National Health won't give me the operation. So in fact I was meant to see a surgeon today at 5:30.
Right.
But
So what? So
I've got to now have a bone surgeon, a craniosurgeon, maxillocraniofacial surgeon, a dental surgeon, not just a dentist, a proper dental surgeon, a maxillocranial and a bone specialist. All 3 surgeons.
And is that all caused by the cane abuse, or was that?
That's caused by a car accident, my teeth, but mostly.
Wow.
It has lasting effects for years of what it does to you, you know.
I mean, if
Not just your mind and how you think. It's a threefold illness. It's a threefold illness. It's addiction.
I mean, when you look back now at the ripe old age, are you 50 yet or 50 this year?
I'm 50. I'm 51 this year.
Right, okay, so you're already 50. So you're 50 years of age. If you look back on your life now,
I've been using since I was 15.
But if you look back on it now, do you wish you'd never done it, or
Wish I'd never touched it. I wish they'd never given it to me.
Right.
Ever.
Because I've never understood, like, my dad was a big drinker and he'd drink bottles and bottles and bottles, and I never understood it because after I've had about 4 or 5 glasses and I'm pissed.
My car's like that, yeah.
But
my little brother, same mum and dad as me. He's not an alcoholic or an addict.
Right, but do you think it's just if it's in your sort of?
I think it's I think it's trauma based as well.
Right.
So mine, I just put that towards trauma, and that's what they gave me to numb me, to keep me quiet, so I wouldn't scream, shout, or feel pain.
So that can't become like, if you like, a crutch where
that's what it
was.
And then when I got famous, and then like the boys said to me, your life's going to change. Phil and Grant a little back then, and I got famous, and I actually couldn't deal with the amount of fame and pressure that I was getting. So I should just take that because it would numb me a little bit. If I was going to PAs and stuff, it would numb me. But I could still be public facing and have fun. But I felt like I had a layer of confidence, but it would numb that nagging anxiety.
Right.
And it was just always my first go-to thing. Like if anything went wrong, that's why when my dad died in January, everything in me was just saying use.
Right.
All I wanted to do, all I could think of doing was just to pick up drugs, but I didn't.
Right.
I just got to meetings.
Well done, you.
Because I just knew something had to change.
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I mean, hell. I mean, losing your dad as well. I mean,
It's the last thing he would want me to do, though. And I think it would be so disrespectful to go out there and use off the back of him dying.
Yeah.
Would have been wrong. Yeah. But somebody outside. But no, for me, it was, I think that was just said to me, Dan, you're done. Right. That just said to me, actually, you're done, you beat it. Not that I'll beat it and I'll never, because I'll always have to have that worry in the back of my mind. I will always have to be alert. Am I going to use or what? But it just said to me, this is it, you're done. There is no other excuse.
Right.
Because it is always ever an excuse. If I want to go and get on it, there's no way I'm going to go, I'm getting on it because my dad died. If I'm getting on it now, I'm getting on it because I want to.
Right.
But I just don't want to.
I think, you know, when you were saying earlier about why you weren't able to take your life and why you're still here, maybe it's because you've got to pass this message on to people. Because
I think I've got a platform that I can reach a lot of people that I'm very lucky I can reach people via social media. A lot of people know my story. They feel comfortable talking to me and asking for advice, whether that's for their kid, their brother, their boyfriend, their son, or themselves about it. You know, so many people say to me, I can't go to a meeting because people I know will. I said, well, then go to a meeting out of your area.
Right.
If you couldn't get any drugs in your area, but you knew there was some 20 minutes out the road, would you get in the car and go and get it? You'd walk there if you had to, you'd crawl.
Right.
Because it's your drug of choice, so get yourself to a meeting.
I mean, I think
if you want it that badly, you'll get there.
Maybe that's your platform, Daniela. You know, to help people not, because lots of people do it and think it's funny and it's a laugh, and you know, it's
for some
only
people.
this.
Some people can use and put. Some people can have a gram of gear, have 2 lines out of it, and still have it in their pocket, have it in their wallet, and go out 2 Fridays down the line, still pull that plain packet out.
Right.
I couldn't do that. I'd get a packet and I'd have to get 4 because I'd have
You
one
like
packet
the
and
Cookie
open it.
Monster, you'd be like, ah.
Yeah, no, I'd get 1 packet and just open it up and do 2 lines out of it. That's me done.
Right.
And then the next one, do you know what I mean? I couldn't just get 1 packet.
Right.
Because I'm a greedy bastard. But, you know, that was just because I'm an addict.
Right.
But, you know, and then I look at my kids and they're not addicts, thank God. But they do have the isms.
Right.
Like, you know, you get the isms, like the alcoholisms or this, that. You know, like Kai's very addicted when it comes to business.
But that's a good thing to be addicted to, right?
Oh, God, yeah. And like health and doing stuff. And he's like training a bit. So when he gets into something, he's into it.
Right.
And he'll do it and do it and do it till he's exhausted it and then he'll do the next bit.
And with your...
So he has got that in him.
And with you, when you went on a fucking bender, like a proper bender, how many...
I could be up 7-8 days on one spin. You know, when you get the little sparks in your eyes, I just crack right on. Just smash right on here.
Do you know something? I've never.
And then when the Albanians started serving up over here, that was it for me because they're 24/7. So there was always an excuse. Wow. But no, and I just think, and when I look at these programs, I'll tell you what they're sticking in this.
I mean, 7 or 8 days with no sleep.
No sleep. And I can eat on it as well. I used to be able to eat on it.
And would you be literally just sat in a room doing it, or would you be out and about? Or...
No, I'd be on my own.
Right.
I can be out and about doing bits and pieces. I used to be when I was young.
Right.
But in the end, it got to me, it's just me on my own. Because misery loves a friend. Right. And addiction is misery. So misery likes to isolate you. And your friend is that packet.
And the books that you've written that you brought out, what's
I've written all about addiction for all of my books. I've never written about Robbie or Brian or anyone in my books or anyone I've been out with, even with my marriages. I've only ever written about me, my life story, about addiction, how I've got through it, how I've come through other sides of it. Obviously, this one's going to have my relapse and that in it that I had after my marriage.
Right.
And it's all going to have all the backstories that people don't know about me, like being done for money laundering and all that. So I'm going to go full history of what my life's been like, not just in the public eye, but the other side of it.
Right.
But still, unfortunately for you, like, I'm still not talking about Robbie or Brian or anyone I've been out with. Because I think I've got enough of a story to tell without having to bring in other people and relationships. So I think, there's a lot to it there. And, and this time around it's different. I'm also writing a book with Kai for hospitals, schools and institutions, prisons and stuff. Because obviously when I relapsed this time, Kai was coming up 17. So he was an adult and he'd seen me clean for 14 years, but he'd seen me using before that. My daughter hadn't seen me use at all until she was 14. And then, so this time round, we're doing a book. It's only going to be 6 chapters. So basically I'll do half a chapter and it will start off with how my life is, a little clean and sober.
Right.
Like a little bit of not too much about the history of breakdown of my marriage, but what took me to use in my relapse. So basically the lead up to my relapse, how I saw it. Then the other half of the chapter is Kai, how he saw me change during that time and the lead up to my relapse and what he saw coming.
Right.
And then we'll go through my using this, that and the other, my stages and what of my, how I was. And every single chapter it will be from my point of view, 4 or 5 pages, or 5 or 6 pages, and then 5 or 6 pages from Kai's point of view.
Right, got it. So
it's a book. It's a mother-son, but it's a relationship thing from an addict to a non-addict. Yeah. From when you're going into a relapsing, the downfall of it, from my side, and how he see the fallout of it,
right,
and how he see my personality to how I see it. And I think it will really help people understand that aren't addicts, but are parents of addicts or partners of addicts or children of addicts or whatever. Yeah. It's from both sides of the coin. So we're doing that book as a free book that we're giving out to schools and institutions and hospitals and prisons and stuff like that, just to help people in drug awareness.
Brilliant.
So we're doing that and launching that next year. It's only a short book, but it's just it's more of like a self-help.
Yeah.
Be available in places like libraries and things like that for people just to go and read, and just for addiction. I'm probably going to do it and do it with some form of addiction-based charity.
Right, brilliant.
To bring it out through.
And what's your and work-wise and plans for the future? You've obviously got these books you're doing.
I'm doing my books, having my face done and going, I just want to get back to work. I'm really into this off-grid living thing as well. So I'm looking at the moment to get a plot of land to put a container homes and that on it. Right. I want to do that. And I'm opening my own agency, funny enough.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'm going to look after, I'm going to manage talent.
Right, amazing.
I will go back to work if work comes up. I want to act and that still. I like doing a bit of directing. I do like doing
business.
because
you've been there, seen it, done it.
I like directing. I like doing consultations on things for dirt and things for characters and things for people. I love doing all that stuff. But I want to look after some management and some products and different things. I've got a hell of a lot of contacts in the industry.
Right.
And I think there's so many people out there trying to be management that are ripping people off.
Right.
And seeing them wrong. And I just think I've been there on this side of the camera and on the other side, and I think I've got a lot to bring to the table. I think I can manage people quite well.
Earlier on, we was talking about, obviously a few of the colourful characters that we both know.
Yes, we do.
What was your thoughts when you heard that, obviously, Mr. Courtney...
It broke me up.
Yeah.
He was the best man. He was meant to be best man at our wedding. He was obviously at my wedding.
Tight, and I met him
very,
through
very
you.
close, yeah. And I met Kevin through Dave.
Right.
So I met Kevin through Uncle Dave, and the kids grew up calling him Uncle Dave, and Jenny, obviously. I met him. I met Jenny. I met Dave through Jenny when I was 14. So I've known Courtney all my life, and yeah, I know he was very, very ill with the cancer and everything else, but it just broke my heart, to be honest.
Yeah.
And the No Funeral and things like that, I thought was really good, the way he'd done all that, and just...
Well, he sort of went out with a bang, which he would have liked, but he also wanted to just, no fuss.
Yeah, and I think it was in true Courtney style.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you was obviously on your travels throughout the celebrity stuff, and obviously dipping in and out of these colourful characters, did you ever see anything really bad, like any bad sort of violence or anything?
Yeah, loads, of course. I sang around with Colton Leach.
Right, okay.
So, do you know what I mean? I was like, yeah. Yeah, a hell of a lot of bad violence.
Right.
Hell of a lot of bad violence. Like the Your Foot Soldier stuff, that's my era, that's what I grew up with.
Right, okay.
I grew up with Tate. I know Tate and Tucker from being Southend and being in Tots and all that lot with them. I've seen a lot of fights for them, bottles going in people's faces and that in Essex and that back in the day was.
What was that? Because I'd love to hear from somebody who knew them.
I was there with them.
Like.
Yeah. They were good fun. Good looking fuckers though. Pulled all the pads. But no, they were good fun. They were very generous men.
Right.
Very, very generous men, gentlemen. But they weren't to be messed about with, mate. They run Essex.
Right.
With an iron rod, they run Essex. That was it.
And what was who was your favourite out of them?
Tucker.
Right. Okay. Was that just because he was? Because people said he always dressed very well. He's always like a party animal.
So yeah. He always had the good looking. He had all the bits going on. He was the life and soul of the party.
Right.
Get the bottles in, you know what I mean? He had it all going on. He was always, and mate, 3-day benders. I loved it.
Right.
You know what I mean? I was all over that stuff. You know what I mean? So
not many people know, but you was the Essex bird, weren't you?
I was an Essex bird, yeah.
Essex girl.
I am an Essex girl, but I was there.
Essex boys, you was the Essex girl.
Yeah. Yeah. Sod Towie, mate. This is where it is. But no, yeah, I was there. I was around it all. Southend, like I'm from Essex, and Chigwell, so Loughton, so it's my manor.
And what did you think?
My boy lives in Southend.
Right, okay.
Guy's in Southend.
What did you think when you heard the news, obviously, when they got murdered?
Yeah, I thought it was tragic. It was terrible. It was a shock, to be honest, that someone took them out. So someone a bit brave done that.
Yeah. But I think they were, a lot of people said they was a bit out of control.
And yeah, with them pills, yeah.
Treading on a few people's toes.
Well, not many, yeah. They had birds grafting all over the place and that, didn't they? So, you know what I mean? They had all places set up and running about. So, yeah, but they were good stuff. So I have to say, it's the same as when people say stuff about the KRAYS, and that was, I know through Charlie and like the Richardsons and Tony Lambrano and all that old firm. They're all gentlemen to me. Right. And to Barbara, gentlemen to me, and the Tate and Tucker were the same.
I did. My heart did go out to Charlie because
Charlie was nice.
When he got wrapped up in that thing where somebody said to him,
"Got nicked for something, didn't he?
Can you get me some drugs or something?" And he was always like, "Yeah, I can do it. I'll make a call."
Yeah, he weren't on drugs. He didn't take drugs or anything.
No, but I think he just wanted to play up to the stereotype.
Yeah,
and apparently
he did for the KRAYS thing.
They got him on the phone saying to somebody, "Can you do it?" or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think he got 10 or 20 years.
For that. He got 20
and then he
years
died
for
in jail, didn't he?
Yeah, and it weren't even like he got 10, but he got a 10 stretch for it or something. He got set up massively, and I think he only did it for the whole. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I think he liked being the.
He liked being the KRAYS, but it was the older brother that didn't really do. He didn't have the balls they had.
Right.
I mean, they like the boys run Essex. They run the East End. You got the Richardsons run South London. Do you know what I mean? It was a very different time.
Yeah.
And I sort of come in at the back end of that.
Right. Back end of your life.
My life, I went from like dance. I started coming out when the dance floors used to light up like Stringfellas and all that. And my scene was the rave scene.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Did you ever
like,
come to any of my raves? The One Nations, Gary's Nations?
Yeah, I did. Used to go to them all the time. Yeah, Gary's. I used to love them. That as Centreforce used to go to all them, Clockwork and all that.
Yeah, brilliant.
I don't do all that. People go Clockwork and that now. I don't. I think it's parked it. You know what I mean? Really,
I do day raves now for old people. So
yeah, I do that. I go to a boat party. Yeah, I go boat party now to their festivals and all that.
Brilliant.
So I'm still in bed by 9 o'clock then.
Brilliant. Well, Danielle, I've really enjoyed having you on.
I've enjoyed talking to you too.
Yeah. Thanks for tuning into the Criminal Connection podcast. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. It's free. Make sure you tell your friends about us. Daniella Westbrook, what a great guest. What an amazing story and a reason to say no to drugs. Make sure you tune in next week. We've got another amazing guest, and we will see you on the other side.